I want to talk a little bit about Russian spindles, support spindles, long draw, and spinning off the tip of these kind of spindles. Since we're talking a lot about downy fibers in this issue of Spindlicity, I'm going to spin a little yak, and then we'll talk about spinning other fibers with longer staples. To start out on a spindle like this, I start by spinning some yarn just with my fingers, making sure that I'm going in the same direction that I'm going to spin the spindle. So I'm just going to make a length of yarn just by adding twist and pulling out. And I want to get a decent length and a decent amount of twist in it. And then wrap the yarn around the tip of the spindle like this. Push it down so it's snug on there. And then start spinning so that I can get a better length of yarn to wrap on down here. I use more of a park and draft method with my Russian spindles. Put a little twist and draft out. Put a little more twist and draft out. Now when we're very first winding this on the spindle, then I'm going to take it completely off of the top. I use my knees a lot. Wrap it around down here. And then start adding twist. One of the best things to remember about spinning with a spindle, and long draw in general on a wheel or on a spindle, is that your hand that's holding the fiber needs to have a very light touch. It's kind of counterintuitive. You don't want to be holding on to the fiber really strongly, because that's when you get the thick and thin spots, which I'm actually getting in this thread. And then just wind on down there, wind up the shaft, add twist. So a lot of times, if I'm going to start with a mill prep top, I like to do a little bit of prep before I start myself, because it's really difficult to spin just from a top that's been taken out of a bag that was probably in there with 20 pounds of fiber sitting on top of it, and it's all compressed. And so I just take a length of the fiber, pull it apart, and just keep laying it on top of each other, because that's going to open up the fibers, help them to slide past each other easier. And this is something that I do with everything. And then you can either spin from the end or from the fold with this little prep. And actually this little handful of fiber will give you a lot of length, especially on a support spindle, because you can get a very, very fine yarn. With a bat, I'm just going to take this, strip it down the end like that. This is really nicely prepared, and I'm just going to take a piece off the end. And again, you can do this if you don't mind blending it a little more. Take it and keep going back and forth a little bit so that the fibers are open even more. Going back to my favorite Tabachek. I know Tom Forster makes a really nice Russian spindle too. I just don't happen to have any right now. So I'm spinning from the fold here. I'm going to let those fibers grab. And this is a much nicer yarn than I was getting from the yak. I'm going to take it in my hands here, pinch the twist, and then wind onto the spindle. Release the twist and I can start spinning again. There's a nice chunky part. Just add a little more twist. Wind on. And again. Really soft hands. I'm hardly holding the fiber at all. It's more of a support. Lock the twist. Wind on. Now, there are lots of people who are a lot faster at this than I am, and can get lots of yardage. And I think in 5 more years I'll be as good as they are. But you can see it's pretty relaxing. Now, I'm sitting here with a stool in front of me. This is not my most comfortable way to spin on a support spindle. I actually like to put the ball in my lap here. So I can lean back in my chair. A table sometimes is too high. And here, when I'm even more comfortable, my yarn is better. It's finer, because when I'm spinning with the Russian spindle, my personal goal is a finer yarn because I'm doing it for a lace project. Another option is on the floor, sort of between my feet. And that's it. I hope you'll try this. It does take a little bit of practice, but it's really worth it in the end to work with your supported spindles. And then once you get the hang of this, then long draw on the wheel is no problem, and using a charka is no problem spinning off of the point off of your spinning wheel if you have a spindle attachment for your wheel. This is going to help you a lot out there too. So try it.